So we will start with XPaths. What are XPaths? If I talk about the definition of XPath is the path written using HTML tags or XML tags and their attributes to reach to a particular node. So here, when you look at any HTML code, here we can see that we have um, so many tags. Okay, these tags forms elements on the page. So here what I'm saying, XPath is the path written using HTML tag. So whatever you see, these all are tags and their attributes. You can see here we have name attribute, we have value attribute, we have type attribute, and so many attributes are associated with them to reach to a particular node. So I want to reach to this male or female radio button. Okay, so for XPath, we'll be using one tool known as FirePath. I'll go to this FirePath. Here, if I just search for any web element, okay, you can see something has printed. What is this? Here we are using so many tags, HTML tag, then body tag, then table tag, and so on. And we are using a single slash to separate these two tags. So how it is written actually, if you look at this, HTML is the main is the starting point. Okay, there are two types of XPath. One is absolute XPath and second is relative XPath. Absolute XPath is something which starts from the beginning of the page, which starts from the starting of the page. Okay, as an HTML page, the first tag is HTML itself. So you can see that every absolute XPath will start with HTML tag only. Then we'll use single slash to access its child. Okay, now if you have to access immediate child, then you'll use single slash. So HTML, then these two has this HTML tag has two child. I can go inside one of the two tags. Okay, so I'm choosing body, so I'm saying HTML slash body. That means it will go inside body. Inside body, it will search for table. Again, this for body, in between body and table, I'm using single slash. That means this table will be immediate child of body. So here you can see this table is immediate child of body. Then if I go inside table, we have t body. So this t body is again immediate child of table. Like this we are going. Then somewhere you see that some index are also getting passed. So what is this index? Look at here. If I go inside at this particular position in this t body, I can see that there are many TRs. Okay, so the one which we want is the fifth one. So here if you start 1 2 3 4 5, this is the fifth one. Okay, if I go inside the fifth one, you can see I get uh, inside this we have multiple TDs. Which one we want to go? We want to go inside second TD. So if I look at here, there is a TD, second TD. Inside that TD we have input. We have two inputs here. Which one we want? If I want female, then I'll pass second. If I want male, then I'll simply pass 1. So you can see when I passed 1, male is highlighted. When I change it to 2, female is highlighting. So this is one of the example of absolute XPath. Any questions in this? Okay. Now, uh, this has a limitation. This particular XPath has a limitation. The limitation is if let's say something changes in between. Let's say this HTML in between, maybe here or maybe here another row is added. Okay, just before the one which you want, before that a new row is added. Okay, so if I then let's say this is coming, so here it's coming fine, but if you change it to 2, you can see that XPath is changed. So even if one tag is changing somewhere, then your complete XPath will break. And a website which is under development, which is not stable, it's very frequent that these tags will change. Okay, it's very frequent. Okay, if that's the case, that your tags are changing very frequently, that then we cannot rely on absolute XPath. So for that we have something known as relative XPath, and that's what we have to learn. Okay, that's where we have to pay more focus, because absolute XPath are something which you even your FirePath can provide you. Okay, you don't have to look them here and there. Even your FirePath will provide you. Okay, but the relative XPath is something which you should be good at. Okay, you should be good at writing relative XPaths. Okay, so now I'll start with writing relative XPaths. So as I told you that it starts with a double slash. Sorry, my bad. Uh, Before I start with the relative XPath, let's discuss about double slash. What does this double slash means? Okay, we discussed that this single slash is to access any child, but this double slash will be to access any child of. So here you can see when I removed some of the elements, still it is referring to the same element. Why? Because in HTML, when I put double slash, instead of searching for the immediate child, it searched for some child. See here, if I remove this single slash and press enter, you'll not be able to identify. Because when it has a single slash, it is trying to search immediate childs. And there is no child with the name table as immediate child in this HTML tag. Okay, we have some child as table. So when I put double slash, then in the HTML it is searching for some child which has a table tag. Okay, so as we cannot find any table tag, as it find some table tag somewhere here, so it went inside and then you're accessing immediate childs. Okay, so this is about double slash, and it's a very important interview question as well. Interview ask you questions like what is difference between single slash and double slash in XPath. So your simple answer is single slash is used to access immediate child, whereas double slash is used to access some child of parent tag. Clear? Any questions here? Okay. Now, if here you can see that I put HTML and then double slash table. Is this HTML important? No. If you remove HTML also, then also you'll be able to identify. So if double slash is coming in the start, that means from the starting it will search for this. Okay, so it will start with an HTML only, but it will keep on searching till it finds the table. Okay, so this is how relative XPath are. Now, if I talk about the basic syntax of relative XPath, then the basic syntax is this: double slash, then an HTML tag, and then in the square bracket you're passing an attribute and its value. Okay, so this is basic syntax of an this is basic syntax of a relative XPath. Okay, so how I should write it? Say for example, here I'm looking for these radio buttons, right? So I'll say uh, the HTML tag for it is input. So I'll say double slash input, and as soon as I press enter, you can look all the input types of tags are highlighted. Okay, here you can see all the input type of tags are highlighted, but we are looking for a specific one. We make it specific by passing the attributes. Okay, so here in the square bracket you can pass one of the attribute. So one of the attribute is here, if you look at the one which we were looking for, these two radio buttons. So if I say type equal to radio and I press enter, you can see instead of 12, now it is showing 2. That means we have made it somewhat specific. Okay, here I search when I pass this attribute type equal to radio, then it search only for radio type of uh, radio buttons only. Okay, and if you look at this properly, here we can see that one of the attribute is value, and the value of this value attribute is different for two. Okay, so instead of passing type equal to radio, can I say attribute value equal to its value? Let's say if as soon as I enter, you can see now only one element is highlighted. So why it happened? Because we are looking for an input type of tag which has one of the attribute, and the attribute is value, and the value of value is f. If you change it from f to m, you'll go to male. So this is the basic syntax of XPath. Any questions in it? Anyone? Okay, so I'll talk about this XPath little more now. Yesterday we discussed till this. I'll talk about it little more. Let's see what all we have. Okay, so this you saw that one of the basic syntax. Now there is something known as locator. Sorry, there is something known as operators in XPath. So sorry, so we have two operators. One is AND operator and second is OR operator. So here, if you look at using only one attribute, I was able to find this element. Okay, what if using one attribute you are not able to identify an element? Using two attributes you can. Say for example, here I am saying type equal to radio. Okay, so I can find both, and then I can say and at value equal to m. Okay, so you can see that when I put and, then what it will do, it will take, if both of these attributes are matching, then only it will search for the web element, otherwise not. So instead of this and, if you change it to or, you can see that if one of the two matches, then also it will search for a web element. Okay, so this and or operators are like a what we call it is intersection of both and a union of both. Okay, so if you put it and, then it will search for both the attributes. If you'll keep it or, then it will search for any one of the two. Okay, so this is known as operators in XPath. Clear? Any doubt in it?
Saurabh sir,
Yeah, Rakesh.
hello.
Yeah, Rakesh.
Sir, you are saying that if you putting and, then it will search for both, and in putting we are or, then it will search for only one. So
uh,
as you are saying that you put it or, so it selected both now,
Yeah,
male
yeah.
or
I'll
female
tell you.
value.
I'll tell you what it is. When I put
Okay,
and, then it searches
okay,
for a web element where both its attributes matches. So look at this particular tag. Okay. Here
okay,
I'm passing type radio. Is this there? Yes. Okay. I'm
okay,
passing value equal to m. Is it there? Yes. So both of
okay,
them are there. That's why this is highlighted. Okay, look at the
okay,
other radio button. In other radio button, do we have type equal to radio? Yes. But do we have value equal to m? No. Value is
no,
f. That's why the other one is not highlighted. Okay, so I was
okay,
saying that if you have multiple attributes based on which you can identify, then you can pass them like this by passing an AND
okay,
operator. If you change it to radio, sorry, if you change it to OR, see what happens. I'm saying that if we are passing OR, then any one of the two attributes should match. Look at this, the first one. Do we have this at type equal to radio? Yes. So this is
yes,
highlighted. It will not even check the second one. Similarly, in the
okay,
next case, do we have type equal to radio here? Yes. So it will not even check the other one. Okay, so it will just go and identify it. So that's how it
okay,
works. Now I'll
okay,
give
sir,
you
okay,
one more example with this or. Here I change instead of this type, I'll put yeah, this type I'll put as, instead of radio I'll put, let's say, text. Press enter. See here, you can see that as soon as I press text, we are getting 7 matching nodes. So what is
okay,
happening is, in the first one, when I say type equal to text, do we have type equal to text? Yes. Do we
yes,
have value equal to m? No. But as one
no,
of the two is matching, it will identify it. Okay, similarly, the next one, it has type equal to radio. So type is not matching, but another attribute that is value equal to m is matching. So as one of the two is matching, this radio button is highlighted. Okay, and other text are also highlighted because their type is text.
Text.
Okay, so
Okay, sir.
any one of the two should match, then your web element will be identified. That's what I meant. Clear?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Anyone else has any questions in it? Okay, so I'll move on. So here one more thing we saw. So for the people who was not there yesterday, what we did, we just filled up this complete form and then submit it. So let me quickly do it manually. Okay, so as soon as I submit this form, you can see a table has appeared. Okay, now this table, if you look at, in the fourth row, second column, we have something known as customer ID. I want to fetch this customer ID now. Okay, rest of the code you can write. Otherwise, you can go through the recordings. We have covered it in detail. But yeah, now I just want to explain one more part. That is, if I have to get this customer ID, then what I'll do? What should I do? Okay, so the best starting way is always check its HTML code, right? So I just right clicked and said inspect element with Firebug. Okay, so when I check its HTML code here, you can see that we have a TD tag which has some value. Okay, 43248. Now, it is inside a table, and if you look at its HTML code, it does not have any attribute, no class attribute, no name attribute, no ID, nothing. That means I cannot use any one of the locator, those locator. Starting 4 I cannot use, okay, because we don't have anything, like we don't have ID, we don't have name, we don't have class name, and tag is not unique because there are many TD tags. So we cannot use the first four. Can I use any one of the two? No, because that's not a link. So again, we are left with two options. CSS we have not covered yet. So go through XPath only. Okay. Now I'll come back here. So how to write XPath of such a thing? In such a scenario where you don't have anything, then what you have to do is you have to search for something which is unique, and then with respect to that you have to reach to a particular node which you desire for. So for my scenario, I have this table with me, this table tag with me, and this table has an ID which the value of that ID is customer. Okay, so I'll go to my Firepath. What I'll do, I'll say double slash table. As soon as I enter, you can see that two tables are getting highlighted. Here you're getting two matching nodes. That means in our HTML page, we have two tables. This is the first one and the second one. Okay, now if I pass any one of the attribute, uh, so I want which one I want. I want the second one. So I'll pass one of the attribute, let's say ID, and the value of ID is, let's say, customer. Okay, so you can see that the second table is getting highlighted. Okay, so here we are. We have identified the table. Okay, so this is to identify a table, but what we want one of the column of this table. So what we'll do, we'll go inside this table. So if I just check its HTML code here, you can see that table has one of the child as tbody, and as it's a immediate child, can I use a single slash? Yes, so I'll use single slash and then I'll say tbody. As soon as I press enter, you can see that currently which is highlighted, the table is highlighted. But as soon as I press enter, see inside table tbody is highlighted. Okay, then if I again say slash, and then inside this tbody we have so many trs. So if I'll say tr here, okay, and press enter, you can see all the rows are getting highlighted. Okay, so here you can see multiple rows are highlighted. 14 matching nodes are coming. Okay, which one we want? We want the fourth one. So in the square bracket, I'll pass 4. and as soon as I press enter, you can see fourth row is highlighted. Okay, now in fourth row, what we want second column. Okay, but if I say slash td, you can see both the rows are highlighted. Which one we want? We want the second one. So I'll simply pass 2 and second row is highlighted. Sorry, second cell is highlighted. Okay, so that's how the XPath for a particular column in a table is written. Any questions here? Is it clear how we have written? Okay, moving ahead. So this was thing, and then I also said that this is a static table, and in static table, uh, your your columns are fixed. Your columns are static. They're not changing their position. In this particular table at fourth row second column, always you'll get this. Okay, so we discuss that later on. We'll discuss about how to identify or how to iterate over table which is a dynamic table where web element changes their location depending upon some scenarios. So we have to look at that also. That is something which we'll go through later on, but yeah, this is how you will go through the static one. Static is important. If you understand this, then the other one will be easy. Any questions, anyone? Okay, so this was all we discussed about the XPath yesterday, and then we started with another scenarios like working with drop downs. Then we discussed about working with one more thing, that frames, and then we discussed about alerts. Okay, so those are the topics which you can go through the recordings. I've shared that. Okay, and if you face any issue in them, do let me know. I'll help you in one-to-one session. Okay, now next topic which I'm going to start is another one of the most important topic, and one of the most important topic not only for interview purpose but for real-time projects as well, and that is how to synchronize your code with your application in the test, that is wait commands. Okay, so that is one of the most important topics. So if you not understand anything of that, do let me know. I'll repeat it as many times as you want, but please cover it properly, because if you don't understand this next topic, you'll not be able to proceed. Okay, so okay, I'll start. Okay, now there is one interview question which almost everyone asks in interview, and the question is uh, very frequent question. The question is that what is the biggest challenge you face in your real-time projects working with Selenium? Okay, and every other interviewer asks this question: what is the biggest challenge you face in your project? Okay, so one of the biggest challenge we face on daily basis, and that's actually true, is synchronization. Now, what is synchronization? What do I mean by this? Okay, see, you have an application to test, and you have your code written. Okay, so your application to test whatever website you are automating, that website is also something which is written in some programming language, right? And there will be some processing at the backend, like some SQL queries being executed, some JavaScript being executed. Something will be happening at the backend, right? So the elements which appears on the screen may take some time. Okay, so that means your application the test has its own speed of execution. Now uh, we are automating an application which has its own speed of execution. So we are also using one programming language, maybe Java, C Sharp, or Python, and then you're using Selenium along with it. So this will also have its own speed of execution, right? Now consider a scenario where your element took some time to appear on the screen, but your Selenium script was too fast in execution. Will you be able to automate it properly? No. Consider another scenario that your web element appeared quickly and your Selenium scripts are slow. Okay, then also you'll not be able to identify. Then also you'll not be able to automate it properly. That means there is a gap between your Selenium script and your application under test. We have to make them synchronize. That means the speed in which your application under test is working, you have to make the speed of your Selenium scripts also like that. If your speed of execution of your automation of your application test is slow, then you have to make your application slow. Sorry, that means you have to make your Selenium script slow. If they are fast, then you have to make your script fast to work fast. So that's what we have to learn here. Is the problem statement clear to all? Any doubt anyone wants to repeat? Because if you understand the problem, then only you will be able to get its solution. Yes, no, maybe. Anyone has any doubt in this?
No, sir. Continue.
Okay, okay. So the problem statement is clear. Now I'll start with problems one by one. So the Rakesh, can you go on mute, please? There is some. Oh,
Okay, okay, sir.
okay, thank you. Yeah. So I was discussing about. So let's start with the first problem. The first problem is page load timeout. Okay. Now your web application under test. Okay. They may take some time to load on the screen. Okay. See, the websites which you see, which you are automating in real time, they are hosted on some very good environment. Maybe they are using Amazon services or wonderful hosting to host their websites. And those web hosting services provide the best speed possible. Okay, but in real projects, when you actually automate any website, those websites are not always hosted on some good servers. They are not always be hosted on Amazon services, or they are not always be hosted on the best hosting site. You might be using some local servers to host your automation website. Okay, so uh, because of this hosting, your application speed varies. Okay, we are not doing performance testing here, we are doing functional testing here. So because of that, we will not care much about the performance. I'll say not much, but it's not like that if it's pathetic then also we'll live with it. No. So your local environments, your local the website which you have to test, when they are hosted on some local servers, they may affect its loading speed. Okay, this is one factor. Second factor is the internet you are using. Okay, some of the organization have very good internet speed, some might not have the best one. Okay, so that is something which also affects your loading speed. Okay, and then third factor can be the way your codes are written. Okay, so your code might be written in such a way that a very complex SQL query is running at the backend, which takes lot of time to fetch the data and show it on the screen. So that is third factor which might affect your application, right? So these are some factors which you have to consider in page load time. So I'll show you how page load time actually works. Okay, so let's talk about in the real time how actually this page load time works. See, we have a browser, web browser, on which we'll write our URL and press enter, and then a page appears, right? This is what happens. So what happens at the backend? Let's discuss about that. So we have a browser, and then we have our web server where our code is residing, and then in between that we have an internet. Nishta, you have a question? I cannot hear you, Nishta. Do you have any question? Because you are unmuted. Okay, she's offline now. Well, okay, so what I was telling that in the real projects or okay, in how a web page works, how a web page loads on your website on your browser. Let's talk about that. Okay, so here we can see that we have a browser, then we have a web server, and in between these two we have internet. Okay, now when you have to load any page, you'll just write the URL and press enter, right? So as soon as you write URL and press enter, an HTTP request is sent at the backend. Okay, that HTTP request can be a GET request, can be a POST request, and can be any form of HTTP. There are multiple forms of HTTP request. Okay, we don't care about what type you are sending because for us everything is like same. Okay, so an HTTP request is sent to the server based on the URL. In between there are many more processes like DNS is there, so DNS resolution happens and all. But a request is sent to the browser searches for that page and then reverts on it, sends you back its HTTP response. So a request is sent and then a response is sent back. Now what is there in the response? This HTTP response, it has the data which you were looking for, the page you are looking for. Okay, the response can come back in small packets. Okay, so what happens is depending upon the size of the page, say your page can be as small as some kbs, maybe 1 KB or 2 KB, or it can be a big page somewhere around 2 MB or 3 MB. So depending upon the page size, a response come. Okay, now if your internet speed is low, then uh, the response which you'll get it in packets, small packets. You'll start getting response. Okay, maybe let's say if it's a 10 MB and you're using an internet speed of let's say 2 Mbps, then 5 packets will come. Like this a calculation happens, so we don't have to go much in it. But yeah, packets start coming. Now those packets your browser start accumulating here. Okay, it will start collecting them. As soon as the packet appears completely, your browser initiates one event stating that the page is loaded successfully. Okay, so Selenium is actually waiting for that particular event to know that okay, that page is loaded successfully. So that's happened in real time in a browser. Okay, so uh, now if I talk about what is the default time in Selenium for this page load time, I mean if you'll not provide anything, then what is the default time? Okay, so what happens is that the default time for in the Selenium is infinite. If you'll not give any value, if you'll not give any page load timeout, then Selenium waits for infinite time for a page to get load. Okay, and infinite time means that your browser will keep on waiting for your page to load. Now consider a scenario where your website fails to load. Okay, it's not loading. Then your Selenium will keep on waiting and your all your scripts will go in an infinite hanging mode. Okay, that's what we're not looking for. What we want is that within some time your page should get load. If it is not loading, then fail the test case. That's what we want. Is it clear? Now I'll tell you, like next point is I'll tell you how to define the page load timeout. But before that, any questions, anyone? Okay. So this is how page load works. Now how to define it uh, in your website. So here I'll create one package for today. Just a second. Okay, so here I'll create a package. Day 7. Okay, so here I'll give you one, like I'll start with one of the example and I'll name it mouse over. Okay, we'll keep this public static void main. I'll give you one example using this mouse over. We'll go to that later, but yeah, invoke browser part I'll put it now. Okay, so what I'm doing here is in alert handling we did, right? I'll just copy paste the part till navigating to the URL. Just a second. Okay, so here I'll copy paste this part. So just did invoking part, and here I'll change the URL to ebay.in. Let's say http colon double slash www.ebay.in. Okay, we'll navigate to the particular URL. Yeah. Okay, now before you navigate to a particular URL, we'll define that page load timeout. So let's say I'm giving driver. Okay, it goes in not responding mode always for the first time. Okay, driver dot manage. What you have to manage? Right, slow. Manage what? You want to manage timeouts. Which timeout? I'm looking for page load timeout. How much value you'll give? I'll give, let's say, 60 seconds, and then the unit will be time unit dot second. So I'm using this. I'm just telling that the value which you're passing is in seconds. Okay, so this is how page load timeout is defined. So I'll try to explain it how this works. So as I told you that when this page uploads successfully or loads successfully on the browser, then your browser triggers one event stating that the page is loaded successfully. Okay, so this page load timeout, when you have put this value, okay, this value is assigned to the browser. Remember it's not specific to a URL, but it is specific to the browser. So if you're giving it once, it will be there for as many pages you open on this browser after this. Okay, so say for example, if I have opened this ebay.in, after that if I open Facebook, if I open QA TechHub or any website after that, okay, it will be there for all the websites. If you're after going forward, if you're opening 7 8 websites also, for all of those values this value will be assigned. Okay, because this is we are assigning on the browser, not at the URL level. One point. Second point, this value is a threshold value. It's not a fixed time. If you're giving the value as 60 second, that means 60 is the max value. If let's say within 30 seconds your page loads successfully, then Selenium won't wait for remaining 30 seconds. It will just come out of this point and move on. So it will just keep on waiting for that event. If that event happens within this desired time, then you will your page will load. But if you'll within that this time your page is not loaded, then you'll simply get throws an exception. Your Selenium will throws an exception, timeout exception. So I'll show you now. See, currently I'm keeping it 60 seconds, and within 60 seconds this ebay.in should get load. Let's see if it loads or not. So here you can see ebay.in has successfully loaded and it's working fine. Okay, now what I'll do, I'll just change this value from 60 to 6 seconds. Okay, and let's execute the code again. Let's see if it is able to load it or not. Okay, so I just changed this 60 seconds to 6 seconds and see if within 6 seconds it was loaded or not. And if it fails to load, then we'll see what exactly is the exception coming. Okay, it loaded after 6 seconds. So look at the message you get. You agree, like it throws an exception, and what it says, timeout exception cannot determine the loading status. So as I told you that it is looking for one event which says that your page is loaded successfully, but it is saying that cannot determine the loading status, and it will also give you the time for which it tried. Okay, if I check it properly, just give me a second. Okay, I guess in page load timeout it does not give the time, but okay, in page load timeout it does not give a proper time, but in the next one it will give you time as well. Okay, but is it clear that how it works? So within 6 seconds it was not able to identify whether the page is loaded or not, so it simply throws an exception, and whatever command you'll write after that, it will not be able to execute it. Okay, so if let's say if you want to see that also, I can show you. Um, in this, let's say after navigating to the URL, you want to print the title of the page. So driver dot get title. So if I execute this code, you can see that once exception occurs, it will not be able to print the title. So here you can see an exception occurred and it has not printed the title. So this is how your page load timeout works. Why we put it? To avoid unwanted hanging of the page, like if your page is not loading, then it will keep on waiting. So to avoid that situation, we keep this value, and in general, in real time, what value is preferred? Okay, generally we keep this value as, let's say, 30 or 40 seconds, not more than that. Okay, but again it depends on where your application is hosted. So if your application is hosted some local environment in local server, then you and then speed is, I mean, it is taking time as well to um, load, then you can keep it high. This value you can make it 60 or make it 90 seconds, or maybe at least you can go to maximum of 120 seconds. But if it is taking more than that time, that means there is some issue with your application. Then some issue with your application, and if that's the case, you can raise a defect or you can ask your developers to fix it. Okay. Next, I have a question. How do we verify the title is correct or not? Currently, we are not verifying anything. That will come under assertions part, planned, but later. Okay, as I told you that in the start, we'll learn how to automate all the verification part, assertion part that will come once we'll start with the test ng. Okay, in there, I'll discuss about all the assert statements and then you can do that. Yes, Sanil, you have any questions?
Yeah, quickly, sorry. See that you were explaining about the page load timeout setting, right? 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that a standard setting or in the code, or is it a standard code setting, or is it
This.
something that when you put 6 seconds, like you came up with an exception, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so actually I know about eBay.in. I know that it takes almost 20 to 25 seconds to load properly. So that's why I kept some small value just to show that how it fails and what happens when it fails. Okay, talking about the
Okay,
standard.
so it is genuinely because of the website loading and not because the setting that we have put here in the code.
Yes, so we have given the value as 6. Within 6 seconds, your website was not loaded, so it throws an exception. Okay, so this value is generally we calculate it after discussing with our developers that what should I keep. Uh, so generally I mean in real-time projects, in my project I've kept it as 30 seconds. We expect our website to be loaded in 30 seconds no matter where it is loaded, where it is hosted, whether it's in local server or whether it's in a good hosting or whether it's in the best hosting like Amazon. We want the maximum time is 30 seconds. Within that time, it should get load. If it is not loading, that means there is some coding issue. Uh, Ask your developers to fix it.
Saurabh sir?
Yes, Rakesh.
Sir, one thing I want to ask, like it's that here I given a 60 seconds, okay?
Hmm.
So it's saying, so as we say, like it depend on the server that we are using a local or we are using a good server. So
Hmm.
that's why we are giving a 60 or less than 60
Hmm.
seconds.
Hmm.
So maybe if I'm using a local server, so maybe it will take a time to host our website. So we'll put a 60, 70 or 80 seconds, or we are using a good servers like as a good server, so we'll put a 50 or 30 or less time seconds.
Hmm. Yeah. Now you want to say that how can I change this value, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay, so in real-time projects, we'll keep this value in one of the config file. We'll be reading from config.properties file, so you can go and just change the value in config.properties. Okay, we'll not keep it
okay.
hard-coded. We'll keep it parameterized. Currently, I'm
Mhm.
just discussing about this. That's why I'm keeping it like this. In real-time projects, we'll keep in config.properties, and from there it will read. So whatever you like that time you can keep. That will be just a configuration in your config.properties file.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
okay, sir.
Okay, so Anil, you got your answer, and yeah, right. Cool. Okay, so this is all about page load timeout. Let's move on to the next one, that is implicit wait. Okay, I'm sorry. uh, So yeah, second wait. Second wait is implicit wait. Now what does this implicit wait means? See, when your page is loaded successfully, I repeat, when your page is loaded successfully, after that, if you are performing some operation or you are interacting with any web element, okay, those web elements, if they are taking some time to appear on the screen, then for those web elements we need to use some kind of weight. Okay, I'll give you one example. Say for example, in the Guru 99 website only, when I was filling up the form, after that, as soon as I submit, some another table appeared and the table had the data. Okay, now this website is a very simple website, so it quickly appeared, the table quickly appeared. We never faced any issue. But what if at the back end some kind of logic is there, some configuration is there, and it takes some time to appear. Okay, so if this is the case that your web elements are taking some time to appear because of certain operations, maybe some operations like uh, SQL queries are running or some JavaScript is running, then if your elements are taking some time to appear on the screen, we need to sync with that. We need to match with that time. Okay. Now, if I'll not give any time here, then the default time is 0 seconds. Your Selenium expects your web element to be there within no time, within 0 seconds. Okay, but in real time, uh, there will be many web elements which will take time. Okay, which will take some fractions of seconds, maybe 1 second or maybe half a second, but they will take some time. And if you'll try to interact with those elements which are taking time, then Nishta, you have any question? Okay, can you go on mute, please? Yes. Okay. So I was telling that if there are web elements which are taking more than 0 seconds, then if you try to interact with them and you're not able to find those elements, then it will simply throw an exception, element not able to identify element, something like this you get. There are many different exception comes, so we'll talk about those exception in with time. So I'll give you one example and then you will be able to understand it properly. But how this implicit wait helps there, as I told you that the default time is 0 seconds, that means Selenium accepts every web element to be there by default. Okay, if element is taking some time, then we assign this implicit wait. Okay, how it works is, see what happens without implicit wait. uh, Whatever element you're searching for, Selenium will search for it. If it not found, it will throw an exception. But if you have assigned some implicit wait, maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever value are you giving, then within that time it will keep on trying for searching for an element. Let's say, um, let me open any website. See, I go to this ebay.in. After once this page is loaded successfully, so see it's still taking here. The blue symbols mentions that it is loading. So it is still loading. You can see that it is still loading. Okay, so once it is loaded successfully, now you can see it's loaded successfully. Now see what I'm doing. I'm hovering over mobile and accessories. Look at this. I'm moving to mobile and accessories. And as soon as I moved to this mobile and accessory, a sub menu appeared. Now look at the sub menu. This sub menu to appear took some time. Though it is very less, fractions of second are there, but it took some time to appear. Okay, so this is the time difference I'm talking about. These elements take some time to appear. Now, if you have not given any implicit wait, as soon as you mouse over and let's say you're searching for this power bank, it will go and try to search this power bank. Okay, and if you're not given implicit wait, that means the default value is 0 seconds. So as soon as I move here, within no time it will try to search this and it will not found, it will throw an exception. But if you have given some implicit wait, maybe 5 seconds or 2 seconds or 3 seconds, whatever time you have given, when it will not find the web element for the first time, it will not throw an exception, but it will try again after some time. Okay, it will try again after some time and will search for this web element. If at that time it finds it, fine, otherwise it will throw an exception. Okay, it will keep on trying. It will keep on trying till the time is over. If within that time it is able to find that, then it will move on, otherwise it will simply throw an exception. So this thing of keep trying again and again and again is known as polling. So your Selenium will keep on polling for identifying a web element. Okay, that's what implicit wait is, and that's how it works. Clear? Any questions?
Saurabh,
Yes, Anil.
just quickly, see on these websites, like, see, it's hard for any person to say how long a website will take to load, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a page will take to load.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you know, like, regardless of what setting you give in terms of the time frame,
Hmm.
uh, it will throw it an exception regardless, isn't it? Because how do you or any person know how each option in the website or a page will take, how much time it will take?
Okay.
So how
So,
do we justify that?
okay, I got your point and I'll try to answer it. See, currently you are looking at one perspective that you are working on a website which is not for you. I mean, this ebay.in, this is a website which is actually hosted on an real-time thing, and where you don't have any control over it. You don't have any control over ebay.in website, right? That's a hosted website. We are using it in real-time projects. The application you have to test, the complete control is with you. Okay, you have hosted that application somewhere. Okay, and then you are doing automation of it. You have access to its database, you have access to everywhere, right? So you can discuss with your developers that these elements take some time to appear. Okay, maybe 5 seconds or 6 seconds. So you can discuss with your developer if they are taking more than expected time. Generally what we do is we take out some time, maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds, when you'll be developing your code. At that time you'll try different time. Let's say first time you tried 5 seconds, and when you executed your complete script you found that few of the elements does not appear in 5 seconds, so you increase the time to 10 seconds. Okay, but there will be a threshold value. You'll not keep on going 10, 20, 25, 30. No, you'll not go like that. You'll give some value. Let's say you find out that 10 should be the maximum one. If something is appearing after 10 seconds, you'll go to your developer, raise a defect, say, boss, change this value to, I mean, this is taking more than this time, change it to less. Okay, do change your code and change it to something less. That's how actually in real time projects things work. Getting an idea, I mean, what I mean to say here.
Yes, thank you. I think I got it. So in real time, I know. I mean, we would know how much time a page would take. So
Yes.
we would set the actual parameter accordingly, right?
Right, right. It will work. It will also comes with hit and trial as well. Like you'll try multiple times, multiple time,
Mhm.
maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds. But if it is taking something unexpected, like for me, if I talk about my real-time project, okay, the websites which we have hosted on the real hosting servers, we have hosted them on Sugar Phillips. That's quite similar to Amazon hosting. Okay, wonderful hosting, I'll say, and a costly one as well. So the websites which are hosted there, we have a uh, strict restriction, or you can say strict guidelines that are each of our page should load within 2 seconds. If a website is taking 3 seconds, if a web page is taking 3 seconds, discard it, raise a defect, fix it, and then only load it. That's how my website works. But again, if I try to mimic this on my local servers, that is not possible. 2 seconds is too less for local servers. Okay, so we have agreed upon that in our local environment, it should load within 5 seconds. Every element should load in within 5 seconds. If we found some of the element which takes more than that time and that is not expected, then we just raise a defect. That's how it works in my project. Okay, got an idea? Okay, so I'll move on now. I'll define this implicit weight. Before defining this implicit weight, I'll show you this scenario that without this implicit weight, how this scenario will fail. That is mouse hovering and then moving to this mobile, and mobile phones will fail.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me? I guess there was audio connection lost.
Yeah, there was a blank. See, I asked you a question.
Okay,
I was
okay,
in the middle of asking you a question. So,
okay,
as a
okay.
standard, Saurabh,
Mm-hmm.
um, we would use the implicit weight with the timing
Mm-hmm.
rather than using the other one, isn't it? Because we
The
need to
one.
give the page multiple. chances to actually try and load it. Is that correct?
Okay, see, page load is totally different. Implicit wait is totally different. Page load timeout is something which will always be there. That is because that is to load your page. Okay, you will give some time,
Hmm.
20 seconds, 30 seconds, and that is again a one-time activity. Similarly, implicit wait is also something which you'll define only for once. That is also something which you'll not define again and again. And once defined, let's say you have defined 5 seconds, that will be set as 5 seconds for all the elements you see on the screen. Okay, so I'll go in detail for that, but yeah, both will be defined. And then there is another that is known as explicit wait, which I'll discuss in some time. Okay, I guess there is a connection loss again, is it?
Yes, connection blanked out. I don't know whether it is only me or whether others are facing the same problem.
Okay, let me, guys, quick yes if you all can hear me. I don't know, this has happened for the first time. Okay, okay, most of them are saying that they can hear. Okay,
No, just ask if anybody there was a blackout.
I guess there was that happened for me also. I got a message that connection is lost. Okay, it's fine now. I guess we can move on.
Okay, yep, it
Okay,
appears to be okay now.
okay,
Thank you.
okay, no problem. Sai, you have any question? I guess you were unmuted that time, but I cannot hear it from you.
Yeah, that's what was happening.
No, actually, this happened with Sai yesterday as well. I guess some issue with his mic.
See, now I'm not getting an indication that I'm talking to you.
Can I hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you both, Anil as well as Sai. Yes, yes, Sai, go ahead.
Okay, I can't unmute now because for some reason my symbol is still saying that it's connecting to audio. So as soon as it comes up, I'll unmute. Yeah.
Sure, sure, no problem. Others, I'll do. You have any questions?
One small question, that is, you said that the implicit wait
Mm-hmm.
waits for all the elements or pages to be loaded. So that is when it'll, I mean, it's implied to all the web elements and pages, not just for one, like in the
Yeah,
case of
yes,
page to
yes,
load.
yes, yes.
So
I was coming to that. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
that is.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah,
Ask you.
yeah, that is the reason why we use implicit weight in the market or in the companies now, rather than using explicit weight. I was thinking about that.
Okay, so I'll tell you. Actually, when I'll start with explicit weight, then I'll discuss this point as well. That why I mean how actually it works. Okay, so I'll give you a
Okay.
quick uh, explanation about it. See, we'll define this implicit where here only, just before starting the website. See here, I'll say driver dot again manage what timeouts and which timeout I want to manage implicit wait. Let's say I want to keep it small, 10 seconds, and then time unit dot seconds. Okay. Now, see, you will be having like hundreds of elements on this page, right?
Right.
Uh, there will be hundreds of elements on this page. So I have defined it for once. The reason is if I keep on defining for each and every web element, then there will be lots of implicit waits. Okay, so we just define it once. We are keeping it the value as 10 seconds. Now this will be there for all the web elements, whatever you see on the screen. Okay, now there also comes a requirement where few of the web element, maybe one or two, which takes more than expected time, and that is something which is expected from developers as well. They're taking, let's say, 30 or 40 seconds. So for specific web elements, we use something known as explicit wait. So I'll come to explicit wait, and then that time I'll discuss about in detail. But for now, you can consider that this implicit wait is for all, for few elements which needs extra time, or there is many more things in there, but yeah, which needs extra time. For that, will define explicit wait. Otherwise, this will be defined and will be set for all the elements. Now, no matter with which element you are interacting with, uh, if it takes this more than this 10 seconds, then it will throw an exception. Okay, so now I'll show you one scenario without this implicit wait, and then we'll add this implicit wait and we'll see that things work fine. Okay. Okay, Nishtha, you have a question. This text 10 second is for all the web elements or 10 second for each? This is 10 second for each, not for all. Okay, 10 seconds for each. And one more point, this 10 second is like a threshold value. Okay, threshold value means, let's say if your element is there already. Okay, if your element is there already, that means it does not need any time. Within 0 seconds it will interact. So that does not mean that it will wait for 10 seconds. It will just move on. Okay, so 10 second is a threshold value. If within that time, let's say in 2 seconds you find an element, will not wait for remaining 8 seconds, will just proceed. So that's how it works. Okay, so I'll give you this example now, mouse over. So what we'll do after after navigating to ebay.in, then I'll move to this mobile and accessories. Then I'll move to this mobile phones and click on it. Let's say this is what I want. Okay, so this move to this or a mouse over is a mouse operation, right? So to deal with any mouse operation in Selenium, we have something known as actions class. Okay, so to work with mouse over or any mouse operation, be it right click, be it double click, be it drag and drop, okay, any mouse operation, we have an actions class. So I'll create an instance of actions class. Let's say I'll call it action equal to new actions. Okay, and in this we are passing the argument as, let's say, driver. Okay, so why we are passing this? This is to tell where you have to perform the operation. So on my browser I want to perform this operation. Okay, now in in this actions class there is a method known as move to element. Okay, now what this move to element do? This move to element will take you to a particular web element. Where we want to go? We want to go to this mobile and accessories. So if I check its HTML code, you will see that it's a link. You can see that it's a link A, and here we have that link text as mobile and accessories. So I'll copy it. Okay, and here I'll say uh, I'll create one web element. Let's say mobile and accessories link equal to driver dot find element by dot link text, and the value of link text is this. Okay, and then we'll pass this mobile and accessory links here. Okay, so this is a method, but in mouse operation you have to do two more things. One is build and second is perform. Okay, so what is this build and perform? I'll try to explain it. This build method is like a compiler which understands whatever is written before it, whatever command is written before it, and performs this action. Why this build and perform came into picture? Because in mobile, in whenever you have to do any mouse operations, you can perform a single operation or you can perform a multiple operations in one line. Like here we have move to element, then move to other element, and then click. Okay, so you can say actions dot move to element dot move to second element dot click. So there is a list of operations. You are performing multiple operations, right, in one go. So because of that, we have a build command. What this build command will do, it will uh, in a way you can say it will understand what all operations you want to perform, and then perform method will actually execute those methods. Okay, so build is like building the command and perform is like executing those commands. So that's how this works. Any questions in this? Okay, I know this build and perform will be quite confusing for you, but just remember that why we need this build and perform. This build command is like a compiler. Okay, uh, okay, the build command is to compile or to get all the commands, and then perform is to perform, to execute. And this build.perform will always be there whenever you have to perform any mouse operation. This will always be there. Okay, if you will not put this build and perform, it will not execute this code. Clear? Any questions? So I guess Rupesh, I answered your question. This perform is will always be there whenever you have to do any mouse operation. Okay, so then we move to this particular web element. After that, what we have to do next? We have to move to this mobile phones. So I'll check its HTML code. You will see that it's again a link which has mobile phones as the link text. So here I'll define another web element, and let's say I'm saying mobile phone link equal to driver dot find element by dot link text, and the value of link text is mobile phones. So this is my web element. What I have to do, again I have to move to that element. So I'll say move to that element, which one, mobile phone link, and then I have to click on it. So again it will be build dot perform. Okay, this will always be there, build dot perform. And then once I have this, okay, so let's execute this code and let's see. I've not given any implicit weight. Let's see if it works or not. It might work or it might not work. So let's see. So it's waiting for page to load. So here you can see that it has moved to mobile and accessories, but never moved to mobile phones and clicked on it. Okay, so here if you look, it has thrown an exception. Look at the exception. It is saying no such element, unable to locate element. Okay, it was not able to identify or locate that particular web element. Which web element? The one which you are passing as the link text as mobile phones. So it was not able to identify it. Now the same scenario, uh, I'll run keeping this implicit weight as uncommented. See now, if I execute this code, okay, so now you can see it moved to that mobile and accessories and then moved to mobile phones and clicked on it, and you can see that page is also opened. So what happened this time was Earlier what happened was that we moved to mobile and accessories, after that moving to mobile phones took some time. And I mean, when we moved to mobile and accessories, then that mobile phone link took some time to appear on the screen. And because of this, as that element was not there, it throws an exception stating element not found, unable to locate. But when we provided implicit wait, say I've provided 5 seconds, then once it was not able to find it, it tried again after some time, maybe fractions of second after, it tried again. And in the second time, it find that, if let's say within that time also not find, it will keep on trying. It will keep on trying till it finds it. Once it finds the element, then it will proceed. So that's how actually it works. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, Susie, you have a question. Can you please explain why we are passing driver in action class? Okay, see, this actions class, as I told you, this is to perform mouse operation. So you need to tell where you want to perform the mouse operation, on which browser. So we are just telling the browser here, and for us the browser is identified with this driver instance. This driver instance is an instance of Chrome driver class. So this driver instance is the one which is uh, uh, on which we have to perform the mouse operation. So that's what we are passing. It expects this. Clear, Susie? Okay. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, so we saw how this implicit wait works here. Now, can we have a break for 5 minutes and then we'll start with the explicit wait? Okay, so let's have a break now and then we'll continue with explicit wait. So we can continue now. You guys can hear me, right? Okay, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. Now let's start with the explicit wait, one of the again most important wait statement and very frequently used as well. Okay, so I'll start with this. This wait can be considered as conditional wait and is applied to a particular web element with a condition. Okay, there are many conditions which can be applied using explicit wait. Say for example, there is a web element on page which takes more than expected time to appear on the page. So instead of increasing implicit wait for a particular web element, we can apply explicit wait. So one of the example I gave you, right? So as I told you that you can assign implicit wait, but if there are some web elements which are taking more than the expected time, then instead of increasing implicit wait for them, you can assign explicit wait for them. Okay, and there are many other conditions for which also you can apply the wait. I'll give you example. See, with implicit wait, we have only one condition, that is uh, web element should get located. Okay, that means the web element should be there in the HTML. Now consider a scenario where your web element is there in HTML page but is not visible on the screen. This could be one possibility, right? So that time you will get an exception, element not visible. Okay, I'll try to give you one example for this. When is the case where your web elements are there in HTML but not visible on the screen? Okay, so this is just an example. Actually, it's not a defect, but yeah, this is one example. So here, if I go to flight, here you can see we have a round trip section. When I checked round trip, you can see that this uh, date of return is there. But as soon as I click on one way, that is gone. If you check its HTML code, if I press F12 and check its HTML code, see this input ID is there. As soon as I select this, see it's still there. It's still there in HTML but is not visible on the screen. That means your web element is there in HTML but is not visible on the screen. Okay, so this is possible with other elements as well. So what um, what happens if you only keep implicit wait? Then it will just search for an element to be located, but when it will try to interact with it, that element will not be there, that element will not be visible on the screen, so it will throw an exception, element not visible. Okay, so if you're getting an exception like this, then you can use something known as explicit wait. Explicit wait provides us one condition where we say wait till element become visible on the screen. Or sometimes your condition can be wait till element become invisible on the screen. Or your condition can be, let's say, here the color of uh, color, you can see that the background color is some dark blue color or whatever it is. I don't know exactly what this color is, but yeah, if I select this, you can see its color is changing to red. So I can have a condition like this, wait till this color of this condition changes to red. Or here, when I hover over this, see the color of text is changing to white. So I can have a condition like wait, this color of this text changes to white. Okay, like this you can have n number of conditions. Just think of a condition, you can have it in explicit wait. I'll tell you how to use the explicit wait now, but any questions till now, anyone? Okay, now I'll try to give you an example. Now for explicit wait, I'll create one separate uh, package and I'll call it, let's say, util. We'll be using this utils method at multiple locations. I'm just creating a separate. So let's say utility. Okay, utility is the name of the class I put, and in this I'll create one simple method. Okay, and the name of the method is public. I'm keeping this method as static, so I know currently you don't know what is this static. Once we'll learn in Java what is this static, then I'll explain it in detail. For now, I'll tell you what is the benefit quickly. So one of the condition I'm putting is wait till element visible. Okay, and here, okay. So for explicit wait, there is a class known as WebDriver wait. Okay, there is a class known as WebDriver wait. I'll create its instance. Let's say I name it wait equal to new WebDriver wait. Okay, this expects two arguments. One is the instance of the browser, and second is uh, timeout in seconds. That means how much time you want to wait. So as I'm creating a generic method, I'll take this value from outside. So what we need instance of the browser. So I'll say WebDriver driver, and second what we need time. So let's say I'll say timeouts in seconds. So we are taking these two values as an argument from outside. Okay, then I'll apply a condition. Condition will be wait. There is something known as until. Until takes one argument. What this argument is the condition. What condition? Condition is expected condition. Expected conditions. I'll put dot. Then here is the list of conditions. We have n number of conditions in it. Okay, hundreds of conditions are there. One of the condition we are looking for is visibility of element located. Okay, visibility of element located. In this, I'll pass the locator of the element for which we are waiting. Okay, so here, when I was calling this method, I was waiting for this mobile and link, right? How it is identified? This is identified by this locator, right? So I'll pass this by.link text. So for that, I'll make it parameterized. So there is a class called by. This by class has implementation of all the locators. So by dot link text, by dot in id, everything is there in this by class, right? This by is a class and this is a method, right? So I just created its instance by, and this that by I'll pass here. Okay, I'll repeat quickly what I said, what I've done. See, I created a method with name wait till element visible. So for explicit wait, there is a class called WebDriver wait. I created its instance, and in the argument, I'm passing on which browser you have to wait and for how much time you have to wait. So I pass the browser here, and then I pass the time here. Okay, we need these two values as this is a generic method I'm creating. Okay, so what I do, I'll just take these values as an argument. So I took the instance of the browser as an argument. I took the timeout in seconds as an argument. And then I applied the condition. Condition is, this is always you have to do like this, wait dot until. It will wait for this condition, whatever you're passing, to get true. So wait until what? A condition gets true. And the condition is expected conditions. This is the class which has the list of conditions. One of the condition was visibility of element located. And even in the argument, you're passing the locator. So it will wait till that element is located. Okay. And that locator you are passing as an argument again. So this is how it works. Now I'll put that here. So here I'll say utility. See, I created that method as I created that method as a static method. The benefit you will get is that you don't have to create an instance of that class. You can directly say class name dot the method name. Okay. In detail, we'll talk about static methods in Java. So here you want your browser, driver is the browser. Let's say maximum time you want to give as 10 seconds, and by will be this link value. Okay, so we are waiting for this element to appear on the screen, visible on the screen, and then we are performing the operation. Okay, so now I'll remove this implicit wait, and you can see that with this explicit wait also this will work fine. Okay, so any questions in this method? Anyone? I'll just make it visible on the screen, the complete method. Yeah, this is the method. Any questions, anyone?
Saurabh,
Yes, Sai.
you're using the method called wait until the element is visible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the website, when you click on one way, that element actually disappears.
Okay,
So,
no, I'm not taking that example. I was taking that mouse over examples only.
okay,
Okay,
fine.
so that will also we'll see that in something known as we'll study about validations. In that, I'll show you that hidden and visible property. Okay. So any other questions here? So here now what I'm doing is in my mouse over hover operation, you saw that when I was not having implicit wait, my scenario was failing. So I again removed the implicit wait, but this time I have added explicit wait with one of the condition that wait till an element become visible on the screen. Okay, so this is what I'm passing. Clear? So can I execute it now? Okay, so right click, run as Java application, and it should run fine now. So here you can see it moved to mobile and accessories, then moved to mobile phones, and then clicked on it. So that means this wait is working fine. Now the main thing in this wait is whatever we studied is the conditions. So look at the conditions we have. We have a condition like alert is present. We have a condition like attribute contains some value. Element to be clickable. So even we can wait till till a condition that a particular web element become clickable. Say for example, you have a checkbox and that's grayed out. On some operation, it becomes enabled. So we have a condition where we are saying wait till element become clickable or wait till element become selectable. Okay, so you can have a condition like wait till element become selectable. Then you have conditions like related to some frames. Okay, then number of elements to be less than this, and so on. A long list of conditions. You can go through all these lists. 70% of the time which we need is this one. Okay, most of the time, I mean, I use it a lot, especially this one where we have visibility of element located by. Others like element become clickable. This also I have used a lot. Element become selectable. This is also something which is used frequently. But others, yeah, very less used. So anyone, any questions here? This is explicit wait. I hope you got an idea what is the difference between two and which when to use which. Cool. So that's all about weights. Now using these three weights which we studied, that is page load timeout, implicit weight and explicit weight, you can sync your application the test with the Selenium scripts. In the frameworks, we'll see these things a lot. Like I'll give you many real-time examples where without wait your script will fail, and with adding just one single wait your scripts will work fine. Okay, and yes, Anil, you have any question?
Sort of all these weights and that the concept of where the element is not visible for a specific condition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, could you explain that? Just quickly run that scenario again, if
Which
it's
one?
okay with everybody.
Which one? Which one?
On the website you showed that the element disappeared, right? And you use the method wait till elements visible.
You're talking about Mercury travels?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that was one example I gave. Actually, I'll discuss that in detail because there is something known as validation which will come here. Okay, I was just giving you an example that how a
Okay, okay.
particular web element can be visible on the screen or hidden on the screen, but it's always available in the HTML page. That was one example I was giving you. Okay, so we'll discuss
Okay.
it in
So
detail.
that method you wrote was not with respect to this, yeah?
No. Method I've wrote along again with that ebay.in where what we did. See, I'll go to that site again. See, ebay.in is there. My condition was that when I moved to this mobile and accessories, after that, see, it took a lot of time to appear, right? So when I
Mhm.
moved to this element we wanted to interact with, but if we were not providing any implicit weight, it was failing because within 0 second it was not appearing. So we provided implicit weight, we saw that it's working fine. Now I was giving you another example. Example was for explicit wait, where I put a condition that wait till this element visible on gets visible on the screen. Okay, so it became visible and then we interacted with it. So that's the example I've given.
So that is explicit wait, yeah?
Yeah, that's an explicit wait where we are putting a condition along with a threshold value. So condition is here.
Okay.
Expect this is the condition. Like this, I showed you that there is a long list of conditions. So that comes under explicit wait. Okay.
Okay. Because at times what is happening is when you are explaining and switching between the screen and the example website,
Mm-hmm.
it takes a while for your screen to move. And I
Okay.
think that is what is confusing me. I don't know if everyone else is having a problem,
Okay.
but
Okay. Okay.
for me, that is a bit of an issue, but we can't help it. That's why I
I,
asked you to explain that once again.
okay. Then I'm really sorry for that. I was not aware of it. So maybe I'll
Yeah.
slow down now. While switching, I'll slow down. Okay, this is because of most probably because of network issue. Their lagging will be there something. So probably
Mhm.
I'll just slow down now. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Okay. So Vincent, you have a question that what about thread.sleep? Okay. So thread.sleep is not a sleep from Selenium. It is a sleep from Java actually. And what it does is it's not it is something not work on your application to test or will try to sync up with that. It's like pausing your code for some time, just asking your code to go on sleep. Okay, so you can put that also like wherever you want, but again it's like whatever time you'll give in it. See, for example, here I'm giving 60 seconds and 10 seconds. These are like threshold values. If your condition gets true in 4 or 5 seconds, if your page loads in 4 seconds, or you find an element in 1 second, then it will not wait for the remaining time. Okay, so uh, that's why we prefer these weights. But at thread.sleep, what it do is uh, it will just halt your project or halt your code for whatever time you'll give. Let's say if you're giving 5 seconds, okay, then for 5 seconds nothing will happen. Okay, and it will always wait for 5 seconds, no matter your condition is true or not. Okay, so this is what thread.sleep is, and what exactly we put in thread.sleep. It is like thread dot sleep, and you give any value. Let's say it always takes values in milliseconds, and it expects one exception also. Okay, we'll discuss about exceptions in detail, but whenever you get this, either do the second option or do the first option. Okay, so it will just add an exception, and then you'll be able to get it, use it. This exception, what we are doing, what this throws is, what this try catch is, we'll discuss it in detail. Okay, so just what it will do after printing the title, it will just halt your project, halt your code for 3 seconds, will not do anything, and then we'll move to the next command. Clear, Vincent? Any questions here? Okay. Anyone else has any questions here? So this ends our wait now. Okay, I'll move on to the next topic which I can cover today, and that is drag and drop operation. Okay, so I'll just close all these, and we'll add one more class here, and the scenario I'll going to cover is drag and drop. Okay, so in this drag and drop example, we'll also cover a small example of frames. So for people who have missed yesterday's class, we'll also be able to, like, I'll explain the frame part again. Okay, iframes. Okay, so for drag and drop operation, I have one website, jquery.ui.com. Okay, so this is a website, a dummy website, where it provides us many features to practice. One of them is drag and drop. So I'll go to this droppable. Okay, so here you can see that we have this section where we have one element. If I click on it and move to some other element, see, it is moving. Okay, so if I just put it here, I can put it here, or I can just go and put it here. Okay, and if I come and drop, I'll just move here and drop it. See, the backend color is changing, it is changing to dropped. So this is drag and drop operation, where you're taking one element, moving to some other location and dropping it. So this is what drag and drop is. Again, it's a mouse operation, so we'll be using actions class for it. So let me quickly start with the scenario. Is the scenario clear to all, or any query in scenario? Okay, so I'll quickly write the code to navigate to this website. So here I'll just, yeah, tell this. I'll copy and paste it here, and also we'll keep this implicit weight and explicit weight there. I'll copy this URL, paste it here. Okay, so we have written the code till navigating to this particular URL. After that, if you look at the HTML code, see here, this particular code, it's a div which has an ID this, another div which has an ID this. So we can use, or we can identify these two elements using these two IDs, right? But if you carefully observe this code, you will see that there is an HTML code coming in between. Okay, we have an HTML page as a starting one, then in between we have another HTML page. Okay, so what is happening here? One HTML page is embedded in another HTML page. How is this possible? This is possible through iframes. Here you can see we have iframe. So one HTML page is embedded in another HTML page through iframes. One example I gave yesterday as well, a very good example of understanding the use of iframes. You might have observed some of the website, when they have to give their location of their address, they put some Google Maps in it. Okay, you embed Google Map in a website. So how is that possible? How because Google Map is another website, we are taking out one section of that and inserting in our website. So how is that possible? That's possible using iframes. You can take out a section of a website and put it inside a frame, and that frame can be embedded in another HTML page. So in a way, the section which you are making as a frame, that in itself acts like a separate part. Okay. So the example which I gave is the best example. That is where one of the section is like uh, a Google map, which in itself work like separately, separate from rest of your website. Okay. Another example I can give you is embedding a YouTube video in your HTML page. So again, that YouTube video is something which is from YouTube. Okay, so you are taking one section of YouTube and embedding in your application. So that's also possible through iframes. So in simple line, if I have to say what frames are used for, frames are used for embedding an HTML page in another HTML page. Okay, so that's what I've done here. Any questions till now? Okay, now I'll move on. So what happens in Selenium is that when you have a frame, okay, you cannot directly identify the elements of that frame. Like here, you'll not be able to identify uh, these two elements directly. What you have to do is you have to switch to these elements, and then only you will be able to identify these elements. Okay, so here what we'll do, we'll say driver dot switch to what? A frame. Okay, then this has three options. One is passing an integer argument, second passing a string argument, and third passing a web element argument. First one, that is int argument, as like an index. So for example, if in a page you have multiple frames, 4 or 5 frames are there, then you can pass index 1, 2, 3, 4. So the order in which they'll appear, that will be the index, and the index starts from 1. Again, not a good way, because we should never rely on index. They may vary. If let's say a new frame is added in between, your code will break. Not a good idea. Then we have two other options. One of the option is using string argument. You can see here we have a second option as string argument, right? So if a frame has an ID associated with it, I'll give you one example. So no, here if you see the HTML code of this, if your frame, okay, let me come here. If your frame has an ID, like it has an attribute as ID, that ID you can directly you pass as a string argument. Okay, and it will be able to identify that element using string argument. But if your frame does not have an ID, then you are left with third option, that is identifying your frame as a web element and then switch to it. Okay, so here you can see this particular frame has a class as an attribute. So I can identify my frame as an web element. So here I'll say web element frame equal to driver dot find element by dot class name, and the value of class name is uh, demo hyphen frame. So I'll put this. So using this class name attribute, you can identify your frame, and that is what will pass here. Okay, switch to frame, or maybe I can say I can name it something else. Frame element. Okay, we'll pass this frame element here. Okay, so driver dot switch to dot frame using this frame element, and then now you are inside that frame. You are inside this frame. Okay, now you can identify these two elements. So I'll say, let's say web element source equal to driver dot find element by dot id, and the value of id is draggable. So I'll copy this value, put it here. copy it. This I changed to target. Okay, and it will be for target we have ID as droppable. So I'll just put droppable. Okay. Then what you have to do? You have to perform a mouse operation. Before that, any questions, anyone? Is the switching clear? Why we are switching? We are switching because Selenium cannot go inside directly. You have to tell Selenium, okay, there is a frame. I want to search elements inside that. Fine. Tell them switch to frame. Once you switch to that frame, we have an HTML page again. So we get source, we get target from there. Now I'll perform the mouse operation. So there is a class called actions for mouse operation, right? I'll create its instance. Let's say I'll call it action equal to new actions, and then you will pass the argument. So argument is the browser on which you want to perform the mouse operation, and then it will be action dot. What you have to do, drag and drop. So there is a method called drag and drop from source to target build dot perform. This you always have to do. That is build dot perform. What does this build dot perform do? This build will build this command and perform will actually execute this command. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, so let me quickly execute it. Right click, run as Java application, and you will see drag and drop operation will happen. Okay, I forget to save the file. So you can see drag and drop operation happened. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Any doubt here? Okay, fine. So
Anand?
yes, Anil. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So in this case, they've only shown, I mean, you're seeing the output as in after the drop has happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't it show, how do we know that, uh,
Drag and drop has
how
happened.
they've done it? Yeah,
You mean how drag and drop? Okay, that is our next scenario. That is getting CSS value. So here, if you can see at the backend, the color of this target changed. It changed from gray to yellow, right?
yep,
So
yep.
there is something known as CSS value. I'll come to that. That will verify that okay, drag and drop has occurred.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Now before
Thank you.
I okay, no problem. So before I go to that scenario, I have a small interview question for you. That was something which was asked to me in Nagaro. Okay, I want you all to answer, but answer me in private, and also yeah, just answer that in private. Don't directly answer it. Okay. The question is, listen to it carefully and then only answer. So the question is, let's say you have a page, okay, a web page, and let's say that has some 10 web elements on the page, okay, and the implicit wait you have defined as 7 seconds, okay. So I'll repeat, you have a web page in which there are 10 web elements. You have defined implicit wait as 7 seconds. Now the question is, how much time will your Selenium code will take, how much minimum and maximum time will your Selenium script will take to interact with all those 10 elements? I repeat, you have a web page which has 10 web elements, implicit wait defined as 7 seconds. Now the question is that how much minimum and maximum time your Selenium scripts will take to interact with all those web elements. Quickly. Poonam, you have given an answer. Think about it again. Is the question clear to all, or does anyone wants to repeat the question? So question is, how much minimum and maximum time will it take? I have not got any correct answer till now. Poonam, your minimum time is correct, but your maximum is wrong. Others, have not got any correct answer yet. Think and answer. So the question is, how much minimum and maximum time will it take to interact with all those 10 elements? Implicit wait defined as 7 seconds. Still not correct answer. Anyone? Think about it. Think what we discussed today about the implicit wait. Yes, Poonam, implicit wait I said is 7 seconds, but I guess Susie asked this question that will that 7 second or will that whatever time you define, will it be for one element for all? That's a hint. Now at least I expect answer. No, not correct. Yet not correct. Think. Anil, perfect answer. Nishtha, perfect answer. What about others? So two people have given the perfect answer. What about others? Think again. Yes, Poonam, 7 second for all. What does that means? 7 second not for all, 7 second for one element. Okay, so I'll explain. See, let's say we have a page and there are some elements on that. Let's talk about the minimum one first. We have defined the implicit wait as 7 seconds and 10 elements are there. So the minimum time will be 0 seconds. There is a possibility that all those elements are already there on the screen. That means you don't have to wait at all. And I told you the implicit wait is a threshold value. It will not cross that value. If let's say it takes 1 second to find an element, it will not wait for remaining 6 seconds. We'll move on. So if all the elements are already there on the screen, that means the minimum time will be 0 seconds. Now let's talk about maximum time. Is the minimum time clear to all? Why it's 0 seconds? Okay. Now let's move to maximum time. Now the maximum time for one element is 7 seconds. Okay, Rakesh, you were saying please repeat once. Okay, so I'll explain it again. See, I'm saying that there are 10 elements. Implicit wait is 7 seconds. Now consider a condition that all those 10 elements are already there on the screen. So will Selenium wait even for a second? No, it will not wait at all. All those elements will be there on the screen. That means the time taken will be 0. Okay, clear now? Okay, now let's talk about the maximum. So for the maximum one, what will happen? Let's say I tried to interact with the first one. Okay, now what will be the maximum time I can wait? I can wait maximum of 7 seconds. If it crosses 7, then I'll not be able to identify. If it is less than 7, then it's not maximum. So the maximum time for first element will be 7 seconds. Similarly for 7 again, for second element again 7, for third element again 7, fourth again 7, and so on. So for all those 10 elements, 7 into 10, that is 70 seconds it will take to interact with all those 10 elements. So the maximum time will be 70 seconds. Clear? Clear to all? Anyone has any doubt in it? So this was one question which was asked to me in a company called Nagaro in India. I like this question, so I always put this question in here. Okay, so yeah, so that's all here. Now, any questions, or can I move to next scenario? Okay, Poonam, you have a question. Means if there is 100 elements, then yes, 700 seconds it will take at max. I'm saying at max, but actually it will not take like that. It's not there that you are so lucky that every element will come exactly at a seventh second. You may get some elements in 1 or 2 seconds, or most of the elements generally are there on the screen itself. Okay, so this was just a tricky question. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next scenario. Okay, so the next scenario is let's complete this drag and drop only, as Anil asked that what will verify that the color has the drag and drop has performed. So if you look at this particular scenario here, I can see that at the back end, color of this element is changing. Earlier it is gray, and after I drag and drop, it's changing to some yellow color. Okay, now these words exactly like gray and yellow is for us in Selenium. These colors are actually in two formats, either in hex format or in RGBA format. So Selenium provides us colors in RBGA format, sorry, red, blue, green, and I don't know what is the last, but yeah, uh, in this format we get, okay, and where these colors are defined, if you open it in, let me open it in here. So if you open these things, there is a section called CSS. So if I go in the CSS stands for Cascade Style Sheet. This particular sheet is used along with HTML page to give beautification to the website, to give colors, to give the size, to give the font and everything. Okay, so what we are looking for, we are looking for one property which is a color property, and that will come under CSS. Okay, so here in the panel I'll search for, so here you can see that HTML button input, they have a color. Okay, so they gives us a color. Okay, so here's look at the name, its color. So we are looking for this particular property for this particular web element, right? So what we'll do, once I'll take out before drag and drop, and then I'll take out after drag and drop. So here I'll say string color before drag and drop. Okay, it will be driver. First I'll search for that element. So element is already there. This is target is the element, right? So from a web element, there is a method called get css value, and then give the value. So the value is color, and what it do, it gives us the css value of that particular web element, whatever property you're passing. You can pass any property, color, font size, background color, and so on. What we need color. So I just pass this. For now, I'll just print
Saurabh,
it. Yeah, Anil, sorry. Yeah.
just quickly, what did you say the full form of CSS was?
Cascade style sheet. So this is used along
Cascade.
Cascade style sheet. This is used along with HTML pages to give properties to your HTML elements. like you have color, you have size, you have many properties are there. You can see these properties here: background color, text shade, and long list of properties are there. The one which we are looking for is color.
So that means the spelling of that is cascade is CASCADE.
CASCADE, Cascade Style Sheet. You can
Oh, okay, all
look
right.
for it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you can look for it, what exactly it is, or best way to learn is go to W3 schools. This has everything related to HTML and CSS. So here is the CSS. So here you can go through what exactly it means. W3 schools is the best site to learn this HTML and CSS, these two things. Okay, so I'll come back to the scenario. So here I just printed before drag and drop. I'll copy it and we'll do same things after drag and drop. Okay, so we should get both these two values as different. Okay, I'll not put any assertion now. Assertion will put later, but I'll just print them by that different values. You'll get to know that yes, drag and drop has like drag and drop operation is performed. So drag and drop here is performed, and you look at the colors. So look at the values. It gives you an RGBA format. So this value is giving, and we can put a condition that if after drag and drop you're getting a value equal to this, that means my test cases pass. So assertions we'll see later. Clear everyone? So now if someone asks you a question like how will you get the color property of a element, or how will you get what is the size of text box, let's say, or if you want to get what is the uh, background color. So any property related to CSS, if you want to get that, you can get through this method, and the method is get CSS value. Clear? Any questions, anyone? Okay, guys, I have a question now. Should we end our class here, or I have one more scenario to cover, which was planned for today? If it's fine, we can continue. If it's too much for today, I can end the class here. And from next class onwards, like from next Saturday, we'll start with Java again. Okay, so the scenario is to get, it's not very complex scenario. We can take it later as well. Not an issue. Okay, so maybe I can end the session now. Otherwise, it will be too much for today. And then we'll continue with, like from the next class, we'll start with Java again. We'll cover few scenarios in Java, especially the OOPS concepts and all, and then we'll continue back. Okay, so we'll end the session here now, and we'll continue on Saturday.